Hollytoe and good morning. So today I wanted to talk to you about the 8 reasons why you should have chickens. Reason number 1, most common, eggs. So you want to try to get away from the egg industry. One, you have like 10 buildings that has to be made for one chicken to lay an egg for factory. Each bird lays an average about 1 egg a day during laying season, which is where the bird gets about 8+ hours of daylight a day. And each person, on average, eats roughly between 3 to 7 eggs a week in baked goods or anything else. Number 2, turning compost piles. So for 18-day compost, which I will be doing here shortly, I have to turn it at least, I believe, 8 times. And having the chickens scratch through the compost pile whenever it's just starting out, it takes off 4 to 6 times I have to turn that. So they're very good at digging through, getting grubs, really mixing in the compost. Number 3 is meat. So you can get a dual-purpose bird and, get it good during the laying season, and once she stops laying, slaughter them off for meat. You can feed yourself, your dogs. I believe you can even make bone meal out of it for your garden, so that way nothing goes to waste. And their leftover meat scraps you can still turn into compost and add more to your garden and more to the soil. It might take a little longer because it's a meat product, but it's still natural. Everything dies. Number 4 is manure. So a lot of people might think, I don't want to do chickens because their poop is hot. It's not like goat or rabbit manure where you can just throw it right on the garden. Yeah, it might have to compost, but if you're putting their manure in the 18-day compost or letting them scratch through it during like the Chicken Tractor on Steroids by Jeff Lawton, you really don't have to mess with too much manure other than throwing it from time to time. You can also do the deep litter method, and that will help too, especially in the winter. So what deep litter method is where you throw new litter down a couple inches every time that it needs to be changed, and it will pretty much create composting in the coop, which will create heat for winter time. So if you live in a wintry area, deep litter method is great for keeping your chickens warm during the winter. Number 5 is eggshells. So you can use eggshells in your garden for your tomatoes that need calcium. You can use it for your worm bed if you have one for grit, and you can also just give it back to your chickens for more calcium in their diet. You can use eggshells as art. That's a new thing. To plant, little plants in for starters. There's so many different things you can do with eggshells and repurpose them as well. Number 6 is bug control. So yes, chickens will scratch just about anything, but they also like to eat fruit. But if you're having bug issues in like the spring or something, you can let them run in the garden for 5 to 10 minutes to help with your bugs. If you don't have a lot, they shouldn't do too much damage to your garden, and it's free pest control that is natural. So number 7 is lessons. So what I mean by lessons is for like children, teaching them responsibility and how to care for animals. Chickens are fairly easy animals. I know roosters can get a little out of hand sometimes, and some hens, but they are great starter animals for kids. I grew up having chickens, and I loved chickens, and one of my favorite things was going out and getting eggs and feeding the chickens. I just love watching them run all over. Even my son, to this day, he likes it. A good breed to start out with, because you want calm, docile, loving hens, is the Buff Orpington. They can get broody though, so you'll want to, break the broodiness by just putting them in an enclosed cage for a couple days. Nothing too harsh. Food, water, no bedding, because you don't want them to be trying to hatch an egg out. And for number 8, so the last reason is waste. A lot of people just throw their scraps away, and it doesn't need to be done. I have a worm bin, I have the chickens, I will soon have the rabbits, all for waste, and I'm going to be doing composting as well. So that equals to no waste going in my trash other than plastic, and that can be recycled. So hopefully I'm going to be able to get it to where I don't have any waste in my home, which is a goal. But they eat a lot of leftover food. I personally don't feed mine chicken, so that will go in a compost pile. But anything left over I just give to my chickens, and if you have a healthy diet, then don't worry about your chickens being not healthy or anything like that. They should stay fairly healthy if you have a healthy diet and eat a lot of green food. So maybe now you're wondering, well, how many chickens do I need? Where do I start? Well, if you want to see what my chicken brooder looks like, please click this link and I will be able to show you, you know, kind of what you need, which is pretty much either a heat plant or heating plate, food, chick grit, a watering system, and I use the one with like a little trough, and I put pebbles in there so they're not getting all wet, and it helps keep them dry. Anyway, go check out that video if you want to learn what my brooder looked like. I've now upgraded to a galvanized bin, tote thingy, whatever you want to call it, pellet wood bedding that is used for like horses and everything like that, and it, whenever it gets wet, it just turns into a small wood shavings, which I then put in my compost pile. But anyway, you want to start out with between 4 chickens at least, and then add 1 bird per person. Why you want to do 4 is because they are flock animals, and often they use body heat to warm themselves in the winter. Also, for free ranging, if you're going to like do a coop, you'll want 10 feet or 10 square feet per chicken. It's still a little bit small, so you might want to go larger than that, but if you live in an urban area, 10 feet is plenty. If it's a smaller breed, you can go down to 4 feet. But if you have like the Buff Orpington, like I do, you will want the 10 foot. So I really hope that this video was not only informational, but that you enjoyed it as well. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe button, share it to your friends. We are a growing channel. And you know, if you have any questions or concerns, leave it down in the comment. I'd love to read it, respond. Very loving in the comments, no hate or anything in my community.